So let's dig in. You're part of one of my favorite groups at FFL. What you guys are do, just and the way you guys go about it is amazing. Such amazing people, amazing hearts. How did you find FFL? What were you doing before? How did you find it?
Absolutely. Thanks, Wayne, for all the kind words. Really appreciate that, man. And yeah, I would echo what you said about convention too. Absolutely. I haven't been to the a national one yet. I just went to, when we were broken up into 7 different places. So I can't imagine what it's going to look like with everyone together, especially in a huge baseball stadium. That's going to be nuts.
Yeah,
It's going to
man.
be really cool. But yeah, so found FFL from Caleb and Gabe. Caleb Amaros, Gabe Erickson with 320. They approached me with it late last spring. Is kind of when they found this opportunity. And obviously, we all, if you know them at all, you know that they're recruiting machines. They're just really great at sharing this opportunity with people. So they approached me with it. And at first, I thought it was a scam. I was like, no, there's no way. That's way too good to be true. In all my wisdom of 24 years old at the time, I was like, no, there's no way something like that exists out there, and you're not going to jail soon, because they were showing me bank statements and stuff. So it was like that doesn't seem real. But they approached me with it, and I tried to open my mind after the initial reaction. Tried to open my mind a little bit to the opportunity. Looked into the company and figured, long story short, basically, hey, what the heck? I won't quit my job. Let me just look into it and see if I can do it. See if it makes sense for me.
Yeah. What were you doing before?
Yeah, I was doing lawn care sales. So I had worked at this company for 6 years. I did door to door. Hey, give me your credit card, we'll take care of your weeds, kind of a thing. And then for about 3 years through college, and then after that, got put in more of an account manager, commercial type of sales position. Managing a book of business and stuff. But yeah, I thought that the answer to life was salary plus commission, and the best benefits and all that kind of stuff, and wasn't super happy with where I was at. So I was constantly looking for the next thing. But when I saw this, I was like, oh, that doesn't have a salary, that doesn't have benefits, that can't work. So I just really had to swallow my ego and open my eyes a little bit to opportunities that are out there. But that's what I was doing.
Now, did you know Caleb and Gabe before?
Yeah. So I grew up with. So I grew up with Caleb. Obviously, his family is missionaries to the Dominican Republic, so he was in and out of the church and school that I went to. And then I met Gabe at college, the college we went to here in Northwest Indiana, outside of Chicago. Met him, and we were pretty good friends between classes, and we worked one job together a little bit. But yeah, so I knew both of them pretty well.
Okay, so moral of the story: talk to everybody you know. Your warm market will blow up your business. And before we jump into your start, what did you issue last month?
Let's see here. Last month, August, I think I issued about 55.
$55,000. Okay. And your best month so far?
89 back in April.
89 in April. Okay. I've never done $80,000 in a month.
Well, I mean, you helped me do that. 35 of that was an annuity that you helped me with. So.
Got it. I don't want anybody to know that I know anything either. So he's talking about a different way to help him with that. So take us through the beginning months. That transition, you had to open your eyes. What were some of the things that you had to be open to that were counterintuitive, for lack of a better way to put it, to everything else that you had done?
Right. Yeah. And it's pretty much, for me, it was the same as a lot of people. I had to realize that this is, you're running a business here. You're not working a job.
Yeah.
Whether it's leads, showing up, working hard, consistently. Those were, in my previous job with the salary, I was more or less used to, working hard till I hit my numbers so I could chill, kind of a thing. So there wasn't really a whole lot of incentive to go super far, overboard, because you were pretty capped where I was at. So I was, my mentality was, work hard so that you don't have to, but it wasn't like a long grind. It was, a couple hours here so you can chill the rest of the day or something like that. Yeah. So I really had to adjust my mentality to, hey, I'm running a business here. Business owners don't get to take the weekends off when they start a brand new business. They don't get to work a 6-hour day and call it quits. and they have to invest in the business. So it was really a mindset switch on buying leads, and you can never have enough, and really working hard and staying consistent in that hard work, not just having a good day, then slacking off the rest of the week, or having a good month, and then, taking a bunch of time off.
Okay. So let's start with the leads. You said buying a bunch of leads. What did you try to start with? And then you quickly realized that it was never enough. So walk us through those initial lead purchases and that lead flow in the beginning?
Yeah. So it was a little less. So it's not that I wasn't buying enough leads so much as it was that I wasn't working them correctly and hard enough. So like I was buying, that was back in the final expense days, where those were like, that's just how you got started. You bought,
Yeah.
game time happy agents. That's how you got going. So I started off part-time, bought a batch. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to buy a batch and I'm going to work the weekends. I'll take Friday off. I had some vacation days, so I took Friday off, and I planned to run Saturday and Sunday. So I bought 25 leads, thinking that I was going to be busy all Saturday and Sunday. I spend, all the 3 hours calling them, because it doesn't take you very long to triple dial 25 leads 3 times throughout the day.
Right.
And wasn't getting many people on the phone. Obviously, that's the lead type it is, right? And
Yeah.
the people that I did get on the phone, I was obviously terrible at it. And so I only booked like 4 appointments my first weekend, and didn't even door knock, didn't even door knock the rest of them. So definitely didn't follow the system. $500, that's not a terrible lead spend, but especially with where we're at with leads today, you can get so much more
Right.
bang for your buck, than just 25 leads. But anyway, so didn't see any success that first weekend. Ran 4 appointments, got beat up, like so many people do when they get started, and didn't have the right mindset. 4 appointments is barely half a day, but I'm thinking, oh, I worked a weekend. No, that's not, so bad expectations, bad mindset for sure. Did that again the next weekend and had the same results. What's the definition of insanity, right? So
Right.
had that again the next weekend. And I was like, okay, well, I got to figure something out, because it's working for Caleb and Gabe, and I'm starting to see all these other people that are killing it here. You were killing it, Ivan, Steve. I'm starting to see all these people killing it, and I'm like, well, they can't all be that much better than me. Like, I got to be able to at least beat 1 or 2 of them, or at least come close. Ran an appointment after work Wednesday evening that second week. Helped both the husband and wife out with the policy. Had $1,900 bucks deposited in my bank account a couple days later, and that was equivalent to 2 weeks of work at my previous job. So I was like, well,
Right.
like, okay, that was my 9th appointment, and I really suck, but let me do this a little bit more. I didn't hate what I did, and felt really good about it. Way better than I ever felt making any sales at the previous company. Fertilizer isn't
Right.
changing anyone's life, unfortunately. So it felt really good, and obviously the money was there. So talked to my wife, turned in my 2 weeks notice, and
After
really
the
went
first
in
sale?
hard. Because
Okay.
I knew I wanted to do it. I just wanted to validate it for myself, to make sure like I didn't hate it, and make sure that, because how it is with new agents. Like, we know it's real, right? At this point, we've seen the deposits, but it's got to happen for them. And so that was what it took for me, seeing that first deposit. Okay, this is real. This can happen for me too. So then the belief was there. I had already watched so many interviews and all that kind of stuff that I knew that there was enough support that I could make it happen from there.
Okay. So 1 for 9, put in your 2 weeks.
Yep.
What do you do next? What type of things did you do to ensure that, because you said, in your own words, you sucked.
Oh
What
yeah,
did you do
absolutely.
to go from I suck? What are some of the things that you incorporated to get from I suck to consistently this 50K monster that everybody sees blowing up the leaderboard, our Slack chat, everything? It's like, who is Matt Borsh?
All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Well, one of the big things, and this isn't something I feel that I think that me personally, I could do a lot better at helping agents with. July 1st, we had a conference here. You were there, Ivan was there, Mark Mead, Sean was here. We had a conference here that Caleb and Gabe helped put on, and that was huge. That was my first day having quit my job of 6 years. So that was huge to be able to get around a bunch of like-minded people. Obviously, the training's incredible at any one of those, and just to kind of have that belief level and the training and the encouragement that brought. I think that's really big. I know a lot of people, they'll work here for a while and they'll never go to a convention, and we have these things everywhere. You know, I tell most people, like, if we're in pretty much every state, so like there'll be one there in a given month for you. Like, get to it. You know, fly, drive, whatever. I've been to
Yeah.
quite a few since then, not just the annual convention. And you walk away from every single one encouraged and with a whole lot more tools in your belt, if you did it right, at least. So I
Yeah.
think that was a huge spark to help get me going, for sure. And then also I say the other thing that really helped me was really swallowing that ego pill. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, stop pretending that I can figure it out on my own. You know, I've got guys like you and Ivan and Caleb and Gabe and so many other people that are leading the way in front of me. Just copy paste what they're doing. It's working, you know? So I really just put my pride aside and reached out a lot to a lot of people, I started watching a lot of the training videos, and obviously around the end of last summer, those were really starting to blow up. You know, we were really starting, a lot of agencies were really starting to do more of that. So I really started plugging into those. I was on every single training call. That's another thing that I don't get. You know, a lot of people that I don't have to be on the Monday, Thursday training calls. I don't get that, right? Like, when have you arrived? Right? Like, that doesn't make any sense. You can learn something from everyone. We're also unique in this business. Everyone's doing something a little bit differently. So I don't get that. So I started plugging into those consistently as well. And then I rolled a little bit of profits that I had into more leads, because I saw that literally everyone says, hey, get more leads. So I figured, well, if I suck and everyone's saying buy more leads, let me do that. So those were a couple of things that I feel like really helped propel me getting started.
Okay. That's good stuff. I think we could end there if we really needed to, and just have people go implement that, and it would dramatically change everybody's business. So you said something there. You said you there's always something to learn from everybody. You still get on the training calls. Everybody's a little different. So you took all of these people, all of this training that you digested, that you consumed, for lack of a better way to put it. What do you do a little bit differently in the home because as of right now, there's not a Matt B in-home training video. So what do you do a little bit differently in the house that they won't find on any of those other videos that are out there?
Sure. Sure. Honestly, you'll laugh because you'll probably see where I'm coming from this, but I'm not sure, you know, because at a certain point, you're taking little bits and pieces from so many different people. You just kind of become this like Frankenstein monster of all these different FFL agent powerhouses. If you're doing it right. One thing I would add is just watching a bunch of training videos isn't going to help you if you're not getting out there and putting in activity, because you're not going to know when and how to implement stuff. You know, a lot of people, they'll sit around, never run a first appointment because they want to watch every training video that's ever been put out. But you got to be putting in the activity if you're going to be able to implement that kind of stuff. But as far as the in-home goes, you know, I don't know if you want a full role play, if you just want kind of the basic structure, but
we got time.
Yeah, what do you
let's just do a full role play.
Okay. So typically what I do is I'm running mortgage protection of all different shapes and sizes. You know, I'm using probably 7 or 8 different vendors between mailers, second chance, call-ins, you know, so all different kinds. That was a mistake that I learned back in last October, not being diversified. I had discovered the magic that is second chance mortgage leads. But then I was new and naive, didn't realize how finite those can be.
Right.
So had a little hiccup in the lead flow there last October. So I learned that lesson pretty hard. And hopefully you all can learn from that too. Never just depend on one lead vendor or one lead source. That is a business suicide right there. So that was a stressful last October. Learned that lesson the hard way. Only issued 15,000. So that was tough. But yeah, so I'm typically running mortgage protection appointments, and my goal is to keep them really, really simple. and try to pull all the objections forward. You know, you hear that all the time because I'm really, really, really bad at overcoming objections, like really bad. My first
Yeah.
instinct, I always get like flustered and nervous and annoyed, especially if, you know, some clients will throw just like the stupidest objection you've ever heard at you, and you just want to like call them out on it, but you know that's not going to get you anywhere. So, so I'll get kind of flustered and stuff. So my goal is always to pull out any objections at the beginning, but also to keep it so simple that there's not a whole lot that they can object to. You know, so it starts off with my mindset. When I'm walking into the home, I try to, you know, you can be religious or not, but I always try to hit the reset button. So for me, I'm always saying a quick prayer on my way up to the door. Hey, Lord, help me to forget everything that's going on and help this family. You know, something like that, because, you know, whether you're building an agency or not, this business can be stressful, or life in general can be stressful. You know, and so if we take that into a home, we're doing a huge disservice to that family, because they don't care what's going on with us. That's our job, is not to bring our crap in there, you know, with us. So you got to leave that behind when you're getting in there. So starting off with the big smile on my face, that's not my personality. I'm pretty introverted most of the time. Like, I don't like to be big and bubbly and friendly and stuff, but so I'm putting a big smile on my face and being friendly, and assuming that I'm getting in there to the table, right? I'm seeing myself in. A lot of people, especially when they're new, they'll be surprised when the client lets them in the door. Like, you should be surprised. That's why you're there, you know? So you're picturing that, and you're seeing yourself getting to the table. Always go to the table. Maybe 4 out of 100 appointments should be at something other than a table. If it's any more than that, you just want to assume that. So getting to the table. From there, I've got my license laminated, so I throw my license on the table. Hey, Matt Borsh, obviously I'm the field underwriter here to help you guys with the mortgage protection. And so I'll give my credential there with my license, let them know I'm certified by the state to help them with the coverage. And then from there, I'm always reminding them why I'm there. In other words, if I have a physical lead, I'm showing it to them. Or if it was something like a call in, I'm confirming like, hey, so I've got your file pulled up here. Your loan's with Chase Bank, loan for about $249. Is that correct? So I'm reminding them that I'm not there because like I'm trying to sell them something. I'm there because they reached out. You know, they're asking me for help. So I'm trying to remind them about that. Hey, this is the lead you filled out and sent back in. You know, I know it was a while ago. If you're running second chance leads, I know it was a while ago, but we just saw that no one had gotten you this information. So they sent me out to make sure we can close out your file here. So I'll be going over that with you today and closing out your file today. I'm always trying to say stuff like, hey, this is it. They're sending me out one time, you know, just little stuff like that adds up throughout an appointment. So first step is, hey, here's my license. Second is, hey, here's why I'm here. And you can apply this to any kind of appointment, obviously, final expense, instant internet, whatever. Here's your file that you sent in. And then third is I'm setting the table. In other words, I'm telling them how it's going to go next. So, hey, Matt Borsh, licensed by the state of Michigan to help you guys with the coverage today. Here's the form that you had filled out. This is what we'll be taking care of for you today. Obviously, I'm the field underwriter. So my job is to figure out what you might qualify for, make sure we find something you can afford, and then I'll help you submit that application. So what this will look like is I'm going to ask you guys about 2 minutes of health questions. That'll help me figure out what you might qualify for. I'll ask about 2 minutes of finance and budget questions. That way I'm not wasting your time showing you something that you can't even afford on a good month, right? Haha. And then from there, client, what we'll do is we're going to look at a couple of options. I'll be able to get very specific at that point because I'll know what programs we'll be looking at. So I'll get very specific for you. We'll look at a couple of options. We'll look at coverage options, how much it covers, what it covers, and how much it costs if you're approved. And then obviously they just send me out once, Wayne. So at that point, you're going to tell me one of two things. You'll tell me, hey, Matt, let's try to get approved for this option or this option. Or you'll tell me, Matt, I'm declining the coverage today. And Wayne, either one's fine by me. I'm just a field underwriter. So I'm here to show you the best option that you would qualify for here in the state of Indiana, and then help you apply for it if it makes sense. Is that fair enough?
Okay, stop. So understand that he said to eliminate the, I want to think about it. How long do I have to make a decision? Let me see if this fits in my budget. He said today 3 times already. So in their mind, they hear today, like we're doing this today. And then he said they only send me out once. Like, that's brilliant. He said 4 times that we're doing this today, and they've affirmed that we're doing this today before he even got out of his introduction, if you will. And then confirm the information just legit goes that much further, in addition to his license, of solidifying that he's legit, that he's here to help them protect their family. and all of this is on the up and up. And then again, we're taking care of this today. You're going to tell me if you're going to choose A, B, or C, or that we're declining the coverage. Again, we're doing this today. So either you take this today, we're making a decision to protect your family today, or I'm not coming back. So they know that there's no rescheduling, there's no follow-up, there's no nothing. We're doing this today. I just need to make sure that you guys, so when you go back and watch this recording, understand the structure and the intentionality behind what he just did. But sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Yeah. One thing I would point out too is I've actually recently started. I don't bring up who I'm with, like as far as family first. Not because I'm trying to hide it. I'll tell them at the end when I walk them through my business card, my digital business card and stuff. But one thing, I try to simplify everything. And so I used to show them, hey, I'm with Family First and we're a broker and I'm shopping with all these carriers. But typically what I do now, my brain, I skipped over this part, but I'll say a quick word track. I'll say, and this can apply to any appointment, but if we're applying it to mortgage protection, so I don't work for the bank, nor do I work for an insurance company. We're just a broker. So I'm just shopping anyone that offers mortgage protection here in the state of blah, blah, blah. Because a lot of times people will ask, oh, do you work for my bank? Or, oh, who are you with? So I'm just kind of minimizing it. Like, it doesn't matter who I am. It doesn't matter to you. I'm just looking at anyone who offers mortgage protection. We'll find the best one. And then when I'm filling out their receipt, that's the first time they're going to hear what company I'm putting them with. Because I'm the professional there, right? They're not going to be choosing, they don't know the difference between Americo and Mutual of Omaha's products, right? So if we're the professional, we're the one putting them in the best position. I'll let them know when I'm filling out the receipt at the very end. Hey, great news. We're able to get you approved through Americo, and then walking them through that kind of stuff. And I'm with Family First, but the great news is if I die before you, you're fine, because Americo has been around over 100 years and they're worth over 30 billion. So they've got your 250, no problem. Stuff like that. So sorry, that's something I glossed over, but I try to say something like that in the intro as well. That overcomes the objection. I don't even know who you're with later down the road, something like that. So that's the setup. I would say that's the most important part of the appointment, because you're setting the tone, and it's not just important what you say, it's important how you say it. I would say that's something I learned a lot over time as well, is your tonality, your matter of factness, and you're not emotional about it. That's something I get a lot from you. You're so bored on the phones. You're so, just like matter of fact in a lot of different parts where you should be, right? Obviously, there's a time to get emotional, but for most of it, you want to stay not excited, right? You're not there to sell them something, right? We'll be fine if they buy or don't buy. That's why I try to say that at the beginning. You can tell me, Matt, let's apply for this one, or I'm going to define the coverage. Either one's fine by me. I'm just here to show you the best option and make sure it makes sense. So that's the setup. And then from there, it's pretty straightforward. I'm just going into the financial inventory, filling it all out. Don't try to overthink it. Don't try to think you can skip one part of it or the other. The part that you skip is going to be the part that bites you in the butt later. So don't skip any part of that financial inventory or whatever you call, the form that you're filling out. Just use the same one in every home and fill it all out. And then from there, that's when I'm gonna, if I know what product I'm gonna be positioning, I'm gonna run some quotes for it. When you're brand new and you don't get health stuff maybe as much, I would always recommend pre-screening. In other words, you go to the product that you're thinking with Americo, or if you don't know a product, you're upline your manager or mentor or someone and ask them, hey, what product do we think would make the most sense for this client? Because you've already got their info filled out in the financial inventory. So then you're going to pre-screen, because Americo has this great part of their e-app. They're the only carrier that does it, where you fill out the first 4 pages. You just tell the client a simple word track that I use is, hey, Wayne, so what we're going to do real quick is I'm going to run a quick pre-screening on you. Basically, there's no physician involved in this process. They're just going to check your medical history, prescription history, so they know who to work with there. So this will just narrow down the options that I have to make sure we're not filling out 6 different applications today. So let's go ahead and sign here for the pre-screening. Okay, great. You hit initiate underwriting. And now if you have a good shot with Americo, or if you get the decline, you're checking cheat sheets and you're calling managers. It doesn't have to be someone that's necessarily a Hall of Fame producer, just someone that's ran a couple hundred appointments. That'll give you the experience you need to know where to pivot from there. And the key thing there too is don't tell them that Americo declined it, because you only get 2 strikes in these appointments. And by strikes, I mean declines. If you tell a client they got declined twice, you're out. Like you're not going to pivot again. And maybe Wayne, maybe you've noticed something different, but in my experience, after you get 2 declines, they're saying stuff like, you know what, just forget it. You know what, let's not do this. I'm busy, blah, blah, blah. They'll pick something out of the air. But that pre-screening is so helpful, because that way, you know, okay, I'm positioning Americo's product, or you know where to go from there. And a manager will be able to help you out with that. So you want to do that pre-screening after the financial inventory is filled out. The illustration I use for all of that process, the financial inventory, the pre-screening, is what you're doing is you're playing poker with the client. And by filling out the complete financial inventory and doing a pre-screening, you see every one of their cards and the card up their sleeve too that they're cheating with. Like, you're gonna know every single card in their hand, right? And so now, because once you show price, you're done. You've laid your hand down, that's it. You got nothing else. You can try to rebuttal, you can be a rebuttal pro, best of luck to you. But at that point, if they're not saying, let's go with that one, the odds of you closing that business is pretty slim. So if you fill out the full financial inventory, if you pre-screen, and if you're uncertain, you're calling a manager for direction on where to go for that client, you now have a super solid base to know what to position to them. And because the bigger problem we solve for them, the bigger our paycheck is going to be, and the more solid the business is going to be for you and for the client. So from there, I'm writing up some quotes. I don't try to be weird about it, but I try to make sure they're not staring at it the whole time, because I don't want them seeing me write down 197 a month, 128 a month without any kind of context. So I try to like flip my binder or something to where I'm writing down some quotes. I tell them, hey, give me 2 minutes. Let me write up some options here for us, and we'll go over them together. So I get my quotes together. I've filled out the financial inventory. I've pre-screened. So I know I'm going with, Eagle Premier, or I know I'm going with CBO 100 or something like that. I write out my quotes. I flip the quotes over and I look them in the face. I say, now, Wayne, one last question here before we look at some quotes. And this is super awkward, Wayne, but we need to talk about it now because we're both here alive and healthy right now. And so obviously that's why we're having this conversation. So Wayne, what does it look like for you if you don't make it home from work tomorrow? They're rushing you to the hospital. You're in a bad accident, and we have no idea when you're getting back to work, if you're getting back to work, what kind of shape you're in. You're asking a very awkward emotional question based off of the info that you now have, because you know their complete financial picture, you know their health, you know the product that you're positioning, if it has living benefits or if it's Eagle Premier, what does it look like for you, Mary, if Bob didn't wake up this morning and it was just me and you sitting here? How are we getting by financially? And then you shut up and you look them in the eye and you wait. And if you've done everything right, they're going to tell you something. Never settle for the first thing they tell you. Always dig deeper. Unless their first thing they say is, well, Matt, that's why you're here. That's very rare. Like maybe one out of 100 is going to give you that right off the rip. But you want to dig deeper until it gets awkward. Do not show price unless you're awkward. Just don't. And the reason I say that is because that is my biggest struggle. That is my Achilles heel in the home. I hate getting awkward. I'm such an analytical, logical problem solver kind of a personality that once I get through the financial inventory, for me, it's done. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, duh. If you're disabled or if you have a heart attack, you guys are screwed. So here's your solution, right? Yeah. But you can't tell them that. They have to tell you that. And so that's where, before you show price, get awkward. The more awkward you get, the more solid a sale it's going to be, the better chance you have of that family keeping that coverage, and also the more coverage you're going to be able to put in place for them. So once you've gotten awkward and Wayne says, you know what, Matt, I have no idea. I've got, that 15 grand in savings that I told you about, that'll last me a few months, but after that, I don't know, probably have to sell the house or something. So now I'm going to take your answer that you just told me, and I'm going to spit it back to you. So I'm going to say, okay, Wayne, so let's make sure when that happens, you're not out of a house. Let's make sure, Wayne, when that happens, that your son doesn't have to open a GoFundMe to pay for your final expenses. Which of these options, if you were approved, is going to make the most sense for you to solve this problem and make sure that we're not putting you on a ramen diet if you get approved? Because you've already got the quotes. The emotions are at the highest point they're going to be in that appointment. They just told you their problem, and now you're solving it. So you show them those options and you ask them, hey, if you were approved, which one of these makes the most sense for you based on the coverage amount, making sure you're not going to lose this house or you're not going to be a burden on your family. And also making sure I try to say something funny about, and you're not going to go bankrupt, or we're not going to put you on a ramen noodle diet or something like that.
Yeah.
And you just shut up, sit back and wait. And if you've done your job right, they're just going to point to one and say, let's go with that one.
It all makes sense now. I understand why your numbers look the way they do. And for those of you that weren't taking notes, even the way that I take notes, I'm definitely going back to watch this again. So this is definitely one, Matt, one for the ages. This is one that I'll definitely refer people to for years to come. So if you have a few minutes, I'd like to open it up for some questions, because I know that there's some out there. Obviously, I have more, but I also have your cell phone number.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what kind of questions you guys have for Matt? And then we'll
Actually,
let him
Wayne,
get back.
do you mind if I add one quick thing there that helped me out a lot? Sorry.
100%.
Yeah. So when I first started, I struggled a lot with chargebacks because one, I wasn't getting emotional. Two, I wasn't going through the complete financial inventory. But the big one, really the one I want to address here, is I wasn't cementing it. I wasn't tying it down and locking it in at the end. Because what would happen is I was so excited that I was going to make a sale that I wanted to ignore the fact that they were now going to have a new bill every month. Right? I would avoid it. So now what you want to do, once they pick one, maybe they throw an objection or two at you or whatever, you deal with those. It's not a big deal. And then they pick an option. I'm going hard on them at that point. I'm saying, okay, so just to confirm, I know we've talked about this in detail, but to confirm, Wayne, we're going with this option here. So it'll cover you for $200,000. Remember, that'll pay out if you're dead. It'll pay out if you have a critical illness, like a major health event, a chronic illness, a serious disability over 90 days, or if a doctor says you have less than a year to live, you'll get access to that money. We hope and pray that none of that happens to you in the next 30 years. So you're going to get this money back, right? And the money that you're getting back is going to be this 198 that you're putting in savings every month. So I just want to make sure that you said that 200,000, you said that makes sense, the coverage and how that works. You said that makes sense, correct? And then that 198 a month, that's going to fit in the budget. We're not going to drop that next month because you had a flat tire or something, right? Perfect. Okay. And you're filling out the application. So you want to address it, right? You're asking to help them protect their family, and it's going to take however much a month to do that. So you want to make sure that they know what they're doing and they're very positive about how it's going to work. And I also do that at the very end when I'm giving them the receipt. I'll say something to the extent of, hey, Wayne, I know you didn't wake up this morning hoping to add a $198 subscription every month, right? But we also didn't have an answer to that question that we talked about earlier either. So I just want to make sure, I know you know the seriousness of this, but I want to make sure you guys keep in mind that this is the bill that's going to take care of the other bills when you're not able to. So just make sure when those tough months come, this is priority. This isn't Netflix. Let's cancel the Netflix. Let's cancel all the other subscription services, maybe cut back on Amazon a little bit that month. Don't drop your coverage. Obviously, this is super important to you guys, right? And so from there, you have tied it down so much that is something that family's going to keep that coverage a majority of the time, a large majority of the time. And you've done your job right too, because they know what they're getting and they know they can afford it. So that's something I didn't do at the beginning that has helped a lot when I started implementing that.
I think I'm going to have Ivan chop this up and just take the portion where you go through your in-home and use it for training to complement the Zach Tradowski video that I typically use. That was great stuff, Matt.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's just it's none of it's original, unfortunately.
That's a great thing about it. Yeah, but the way you package it is, because I wouldn't have a page of notes. So the way you package and deliver it is definitely original. But what kind of questions you guys have for Matt? Anything about
Matt,
insurance?
Taylor here.
Hey, what's up, Taylor?
Hey, quick question. So how much of your success in this business do you think is attributed purely to self-confidence? Confidence in what you're doing?
Yeah. That's a good question. I would say that it would be very difficult to succeed here without being confident in yourself. However, you're not going to be confident starting out. You can't be. Right. I don't remember. I'm going to butcher the exact phrase, but what is it? You do something 10,000 times, you become a professional at it. It goes something like that. Right. Now, I haven't run 10,000 appointments yet, but I've run a lot. And so that's where the confidence comes from, because there's only so many situations you're going to run into out there. And once you've run into them all and made all the mistakes, which I have, you know what you're going to run into and you know how to address it. So, you know, if you're not making the sale, you did everything you can, or you realize, oh, I got lazy here and I didn't do this, but you know what you did wrong, right? So the confidence is going to come with experience and training. So just keep following that path, knowing that you'll feel the confidence building. And the more activity you put in and the more training you do, the more people you reach out to, the more confident you'll get and the quicker you'll be. But yeah, confidence is 100% key. So I don't think I answered your question exactly, but does that help a little bit?
Yep, you got it, man.
Awesome.
That's a good question, Taylor. What else you guys got for Matt?
Nicole asked if I could share the digital business card. That's nextcardpro.com. It's like $10 a month. You can share it unlimited, just so you know. And they have a family first life blueprint that you can use too. So it's real nice.
If you have work spots too, there's also one inside of work spots.
Oh, thanks, Wayne.
That's included, I'm sure, in your work spots membership. So you can shed the NextCard Pro.
Hey, Matthew, I got a question. So
Hey, what's up, Bill?
I know the statistics and the numbers are the numbers. What are you generally running? Like, how many appointments are you generally running to hit your numbers that you're hitting? I mean, like I said, I mean, I know the numbers are the numbers, but I mean, your production level is obviously respectfully very, very well. So I'm just I'm a numbers guy. So if you tell me, you know, I need to run this many appointments, I'm going to do my best to get there, to get to that next level. So what does that number look like for you?
Absolutely, man. Unfortunately, I got to disappoint you all and say 30 appointments a week is always the target. Sorry. I know that I know you're looking for some secret sauce, but unfortunately it's not there. I'm just shooting for 30 appointments a week. Any week that I've been closer to 40 have been some of my best weeks. So just, it's such a simple business, man. Just the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. It's so cheesy. It's so cliche, but it's so true here. That's what I love about this business. I can't take any credit. I'm just spending a ton of money on leads and running a bunch of appointments, you know? So it really is that simple. And I try to oversimplify all of it, you know? So just get a little more uncomfortable with your lead spend. I mean, you just had a 32K week. So I think we need to be asking you the questions here, but
Yeah, well,
but yeah, man, it's just keep whatever you did, keep doing it. And if you're not happy with what you're doing, buy more leads.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Larry, you got the hand raised. How's it going, man?
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, thanks.
I wanted to know, like, leads, your weekly leads. What do you I don't even want to know about the money that you're spending, but literally how many leads are you obtaining weekly to hit the 30 appointments?
I'm spending, I don't know the exact lead number. It'll fluctuate depending on different weeks. So I don't know that number off the top of my head. I do know that I'm spending $3,000 a week on leads minimum. And the numbers make sense, man. It sounds crazy, but we're running a business here, you know? So I didn't start off spending that, but when literally everyone that does well here says buy more leads, I took that literally. You know, I took it literally, because you're always gonna, you can't look at it on a day-to-day or a week-to-week basis. You know, there's been a lot of times where I've bought a batch of leads or something, and maybe I haven't profited much, or maybe maybe barely broke even or didn't even break even. But when you look at it on over a month, if you kept that activity up for a month, dude, you're always going to come out ahead. So just get uncomfortable with that lead spend. That's going to force you to work even harder, and it's going to give you more shots. So if you're brand new, it's going to get you better quicker. And if you're pretty decent already, it's going to skyrocket that profitability.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Hey, is it Kedlin? Sorry, I don't know if I've ever heard your name pronounced correctly.
Yeah, that's how you pronounce it. But
Kedlin,
my name is
nice to meet
Sky.
you,
I just
Kevin.
had a question.
Oh, hey, Sky.
How do you handle the dials that whenever you're speaking to them, they say that they've already been helped?
Oh, okay, perfect. So that'll make my job a lot easier. Sky, they've got me out in your area tomorrow. Obviously, your file is still open. So I just got to make sure that you got the best coverage available to you, but it sounds like you already did. So I'll just be out there. It'll take 2 minutes. We'll make sure you got the best coverage available to you here in whatever state you're in, here in Texas. And then I'll be out of your hair and we'll wrap up your file so I don't have to keep calling you and bugging you over the phone because I'm sure you're ready to be done with that, right? Perfect. Sorry,
Awesome.
you're not
Thank
helping me
you.
out here. No. So yeah, perfect. All right. Any reason you won't be home tomorrow around 7? And then boom, you book the appointment. So obviously you don't want those to be a majority of your appointments, but especially if you're running like second chance leads or older leads, a lot of people will say that. And unfortunately, most of them are lying to you. They don't actually have coverage, or if they do have coverage, it's not that great, or they don't know what it is. So you definitely want to do right by the client and take a look at that. But you just want to, it's not a big deal. And you want to make it sound like you're super relieved because it's going to save you so much time. And you want to give them a benefit to it. So that's where I try to make a joke about allowing me to stop blowing up their phone. Because no one likes their phone getting blown up. And that's what we're doing for most leads, right? Where you're triple dialing them 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, evening. So in that situation, you're offering them a bonus. They're not doing you a favor, you're doing them a favor. So you can close out their file as long as you make sure they've got the best coverage available to them.
Awesome. Thank you.
So what's your
Absolutely.
opening in home in a situation like that where you show up and they're like, yeah, we're taken care of. We've already got coverage. How do you approach that?
Absolutely, Jonathan. So you want to keep everything consistent. So when I'm getting there, everything's the same. I would make that mistake a lot of times and I would change it up, but that just throws you off your game, throws you off of the rhythm. And so then it's going to make it a lot easier for them to have control of the appointment. So I'm starting off the same way, setting the table exactly the same. License, here's why I'm here, the lead or whatever, and then here's the process. And then once I explain all that, then I'll say, okay, and obviously I think you mentioned over the phone that you already had this taken care of. You save us some time, go ahead and grab that for me. I'll work on this while you're doing that. And then I turn away from them and ignore them. And I'll just start doing something completely random on my iPad while they go to do it. And you wanna ignore them, like this isn't gonna proceed until you go and get that. So that's how I would handle it. Same setup, but then, hey, go ahead and save us some time. Go ahead and grab that so we can get this wrapped up right away.
Hey, Matthew, how do you cement the call when you're dialing? How do you cement it through the phone?
Absolutely, yeah. So that's a big mistake that a lot of us tend to make because we're in such a rush to get more appointments that we get excited that we just booked one. But your tie down should take as long as the entire rest of the conversation. The longer you spend at the tie down, the better your show rate's going to be. So you just want to be like, you want to get their feedback a little bit, ask them some questions that they can't just say yes or no to, and have them do something active wise. So in other words, okay, great. And so Lewis, got you down tomorrow. What time did we say again?
6.
6. Okay, perfect. So I've got you down tomorrow at 6. I'll be driving a white Mazda, and I'm 6 foot, blonde hair, blue eyes. So that's me pulling up there. It'll probably be getting a little dark at that point. So put the shotgun away, right? If you could, that'll be me. I'll knock on your door there. And then what color is the house so I don't pull into your neighbors?
Blue.
Okay, perfect. And do you have a driveway where I can park or should I be on the street?
Street.
Okay, perfect. And then the numbers, mailbox, house, where are those? Curb?
Mailbox.
Okay, mailbox, perfect. So I've got you down blue house, numbers on the mailbox. I'll be pulling into the street there in front and you'll be watching out for me around 6. Lewis, I'm seeing 12 people before you tomorrow. So if you give me a little bit of grace there, I'll be there as close to 6 as I can, but just give me a little bit of a window in case I'm running a little bit late. I'm not going to forget about you, I promise. And then Lewis, go ahead and grab a pen. I'll give you a quick confirmation code and let you go. Let me know when you're ready.
Awesome. Perfect.
And then I'll go ahead and give them a confirmation code. If they try to say no to that, I'll say, okay, I understand you're driving or something like that. I'll go ahead and I'll shoot you a text with the confirmation code. If you could go ahead and respond with yes to that text. So that way we can go ahead and confirm you in the system here. So that
Awesome.
way you're getting some kind of activity out of them to confirm it, whether it's writing it down. Older people will typically do that better. If it's a younger person, it's easier to have them confirm with the text. So then you just send them kind of a blanket, hey, here's your appointment time, name, confirmation code, confirm yes to schedule the appointment for tomorrow at 6. So that way you're getting a little activity out of them.